Hello everybody, welcome to Condish Sound Check. I'm Scott Savage.
Sweet Wade.
And this is a big one for me. I'm a big fan of this band, so...
And it's also timely because I know we're doing the GNR stuff. We're in the middle of that, but we're taking a side trip because a certain band has an album coming out, I believe June 1st.
Yeah.
So we can be timely, and we'll review that one with...
We don't gotta talk about it like it's a mystery. It's in the title. They know we're talking about Ghost. Ghost's new album, Prequel, is coming out in June 1st, or on June 1st. And so we thought it would be fun to... Because I said I wanted to wait until the fourth album came out before we started to touch on Ghost. So, this is going to be a great time. I already have the album pre-ordered, so I'm going to... By literally the day it comes out, I'll have it. And I actually bought tickets to their May 20th show, so when the album comes out, I'll have a digital copy. So even if my vinyl copy doesn't come in the mail right away, I'll have a digital copy so I can listen to it as soon as it comes out. So we're going to get that review to you ASAP.
Yes.
But on this episode, we're going to talk about the first two records. And after we talk about the first two records, we're not going to count it, but I just want to do a brief overview of the first EP. Just so anybody, because I know how Ghost fans are, believe me, I'm one of you. They'd be like, well, you didn't mention it. I was like, we're not counting it, but I want to mention it.
Full-length albums, not LPs.
But I do want to mention, I do want to briefly touch upon it. But so we got the very first album, Opus Eponynous.
It came out October 18th, 2010. That was 8 years ago.
And it came out the day before my birthday. So good birthday present for me. Opus Eponynous is Latin for, I believe it's self-titled work, which I thought was kind of funny that like they couldn't even call their self-titled album Ghost. They had to. I thought that was a fun little thing.
And the producer was Gene Walker.
One of the other things a lot of horror fans will notice the reference to Salem's Lot on the cover. So this was the first Ghost record featuring the original vocalist Papa Emeritus 1 before they were numbered. And so at this time, you know, they had just they were still in Sweden. I think they had like just recently gotten to America. I know their very first show was at Maryland Death Fest of, I want to say 2009, 2010 was their first show in America. And that's when they started really getting traction, when they came to America. Up until that point, they were kind of a unique thing. You know, their sound it wasn't quite metal, it wasn't quite like modern rock, wasn't quite this or that. It was kind of like its own thing. One of the things that drew me into it, not only was like the catchiness of some of the songs along with its aggressiveness, but like I love the use of organ. I thought that was a very nice touch, especially with like the whole like evil church thing, evil pope thing. I thought the use of organ was, not only was it welcomed and it was refreshing and it made them sound different, but the way they used it I thought was very, very good. Now, usually we get into like who played on what or whatever. This one's going to be a little difficult because we know Tobias Forge, who recently outed himself as Papa. We know he sang on a lot of these records. We know he wrote a lot of the songs. But like, it's hard to tell who played on what, because they still haven't revealed who. They revealed who's in some of the guys who were in the band, but there's been no real revelation as to who played on what records, other than we know Tobias played. We know Tobias sang on all the records. We know the original Alpha and Omega guitar players. We know they played on all the records except for the one that's coming out. So we know them, but beyond that, like bass player, drummer, and keyboards, that is kind of a mystery.
All songs were written by a ghoul writer, except for George Harrison, which is on the bonus track. The
funny thing about that is, I can't specify, but it's being reported that even though a lot of people thought a ghoul writer was Tobias Forge, but it turns out it might have been Martin Persner, who is now in the revived Magna Carta Cartel, which was one of the previous bands along with Subvision that preceded Ghost. A lot of those bands ended so that Ghost could become what it is.
I'm thinking Jake Healy and
and for the record, I have met Martin Persner. I think he's a great guy. He's just the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. And don't worry, we will discuss Magna Carta Cartel in a later episode. I kind of want to wait till they put out a full record before we do that. But We're talking about Ghost. We're talking about the first album.
We get it.
Well, no,
I'm just kidding.
I just want to give people a brief
that we know what we're
history.
talking about.
Well, not just that. I just want to give people a brief history who might be discovering this.
Let's talk about what's the best song in your opinion on this first album. What's the best song in your opinion?
This is a very hard decision to make because Stand By Him has one of my favorite outros in rock and roll, just with the smoothness of the guitar. But I'm gonna have to say Conclavi con Dio. Great way to open the record. Great way to open the record. Yeah, yes, Deus Culpa is the opening.
I thought
but it's not the real opening. The real opening is Conclavi con Dio. I love how heavy it is, how dark it is. It just hits you. It's like, this is the song you need to hear to get into Ghost. When you hear this song, you are set for the entire album. I thought
you were gonna go Ritual.
Don't get me wrong, Ritual's great and it's fun and it's catchy, just like a lot of the songs on this record. But I think Conclavi con Dio, because it hits you.
Yeah.
Because I'm a sucker for a good opener. When you get a good opening track, that just really sets you up for the rest of the album. And I think this song definitely does it. I love the heaviness. I love the evilness in Papa's vocals when you get to like the break or the bridge. Like all the songs, catchy. I love the vocals on it when he's saying like Lucifer, we are here. The way he says it. It's so good. I mean, there's not a bad track on the record, but if I had to make a... And that bass line, that... Get that out of your fucking head. I dare you.
You mentioned mine. The best track to me is Stand By Him.
It's a great song.
It's got a great hook of a chorus. You know, it got the...
Yeah. That's the one... Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's a simple...
And Stand By Him, that's the one where it's like... That, yes. Which just, that kind of shit just suckers me in.
And it's also, yeah, I think so, yeah. Sometimes I get Stand By Him and Elizabeth intros confused.
No, Elizabeth is like, trust me, that's different.
Okay, so Stand By, you're right, the ending is amazing.
It's so smooth, it's so good. It's like, that's the kind of stuff, that's the kind of guitar tone you want to just kick back, relax, have like a cold beer, or roll a joint, and just be like, just relax.
And hear that going. And it rhymes with everything, the melody of the song. So
it really works. And
I'm a big sucker for those kind of things.
And fun fact, if stories are to be believed, this was the very first Ghost song ever written. This was the song that made them say, okay, we need to give up what we're doing, and we need to do Ghost.
Yes.
So, I mean, if that's true, you know...
I understand.
Another great reason to like this song.
Worst song, to me, Prime Mover. I feel like this album really kind of slows down, and really, the quality isn't as good as the rest of the songs near the end.
I think all these songs are great.
I'm not counting Genesis or Deus Culpa.
The Deus Culpa...
instrumentals, I'm not...
Well, Deus Culpa is barely an instrumental. It's literally just like 2 or 3 organ notes.
Yeah.
Genesis is actually a really good instrumental.
So I'm not going to count that.
I'm actually going to say Death Knell, because Death Knell is the one track that... And again, I'm not saying it's a forgettable song, but it's the one song that I was like, oh yeah, this is the album with Death Knell on it. But I mean, I don't hate or dislike any song on this album.
Basically, Death Knell was my second choice on worst. So Death Knell, Prime Mover. Like I said, the ending of this album is just not up to snuff.
I love Prime Mover. I think the second or the second verse when you know the filth in her womb, that whole line, just the way he sings it is just so good. It just fucking hits you.
Let's have fun here.
I really
Hidden
like
Gem, it. At the same time, 3, 2, 1.
Satan Prayer. It's one of those ones that Ghost fans don't talk about often. They'll reference it, they'll allude to it, but when they
solo got a great.
It's catchy.
Yes.
It's one of the first Ghost songs you'll know the lyrics to, because the chorus is dominant in the song. But I mean, you can't, like I said, you can't pick a bad song.
Like the song structure is so awesome. It goes like the first, and then goes like that when they kind of like that. Pre-chorus is just his voice is going higher and higher.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the chorus, a totally different melody. It's like like it's just
And I mean,
it's a totally different shit, but it works.
And because we barely mentioned them, Ritual and Elizabeth to me are they go hand in hand. I always feel like they're 2 parts of one song. They're so good. Again, Ritual is so smooth. Like it's like
Stand By Me Him was not on the album, Ritual would be my top.
I mean, Ritual, like I said, it's just so catchy. It's a great hook. It just gets you in. Elizabeth, again, very evil sounding, but very catchy, very fun. Also, this is a band that, like, you don't realize in that first album how influenced by pop music they are, just as much as they are any metal or evil.
Well, the hidden track, the bonus track, is a good example of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They did "Here Comes the Sun" by the Beatles. Which are big on melody and pop.
And the way they do it is very good. That's the one thing that, and why I do want to touch on the EP afterwards, is when they do a cover, they don't. It's almost as if they wrote it. Yeah. They don't just do a song and try to sound like the other artists, or even just sound like themselves. They really try to, like, do something different, because even the covers don't always sound exactly like what Ghost does on the originals or the original stuff. So I think they definitely they take in their own way, especially with the theme of the album. They kind of change it from, like, "Here Comes the Sun" to this, like, happy, like, you know, like, long winter leading and finally brightness, but, like, "Here Comes the Sun," like the son of the devil. Well, and I like that they kind of tweak it without having to change the lyrics or anything.
Whenever someone says I never listen to Ghost, the one example I say, it's basically black metal Beatles.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
With an evil pope.
You're gonna have to say this word because I always mess it up.
Okay, so now we're gonna talk about the second album, Infesstium, which is Latin for being very hostile.
The most hostile.
Which is kind of weird because this album isn't as aggressive as Opus. This album, funny enough, this album came out I think a week or two after we went to WrestleMania 29. And remember I was telling you about it on the trip up. It was a big deal. But yeah, it was released on April 10th, 2013. In Nashville, was at Blackbird Studios, recorded in Nashville. And this was their debut on Loma Vista, which they've been on every record they've put out since. This one, if you have Ghost, Meliora, Pope Star, and Prequel, which is coming up. They've been consistent on this label. Fun fact about this album, until the last minute, they could not find a legitimate church chorus to do the chorus part or the choir parts, because most church choirs refuse to sing about songs about Satan.
Yeah.
Eventually, they finally found a choir that got that they weren't actual Satanists and were willing to play along, so they were able to get what they wanted, because they were going to get a studio singers to do it, and they tried them out, and apparently it was fine, but it wasn't what they wanted. And also the artwork, a lot of the artwork got this album delayed because the CD print, which if you get the deluxe edition, you get the the picture book, which has all the different pictures based on each song, and there was some suggestive stuff. And I thought it was really funny that in one of the interviews, who it was later revealed to be Martin Persner, he was talking about how funny it is that you can put out a record that says the most evil, sexual, just deviant shit, but you can release it as long as you don't show it. And I've seen the pictures. There's nothing that bad. I mean, it's just a naked woman.
And the album cover is inspired by Amadeus.
Yes, which it's a reference to Amadeus.
It's a great movie.
And it's a great visual too. You see the silhouette of Papa, and then you see the Antichrist using the Vatican as a manger.
I do a lot.
I mean, that's great.
I did some research for this, but the reason for this album is the last song on the previous album is Genesis.
Yes,
and it's basically the birth of the Antichrist.
Yes, both albums are essentially concept records. The first one being the lead up to the birth of the Antichrist, and then this one is about the Antichrist. Yeah. Not directly, but the theme is there.
Yeah.
So this album was a bit of a departure. We say goodbye to Papa Emeritus, and then we say hello to Papa Emeritus 2. Along with that, the ghouls change from their original black and then eventually their white garb to black robes with the black masks. And then, of course, Papa Emeritus 2, which this was also interesting because, granted, he was only the second Papa, but he was the first one we got to see unmasked, without his face paint.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun. This was where this album and this era was where they really started showing their personality and were we're not just super serious. We like to have fun, and you could see that with the propaganda videos. You could see it with the music videos, how they did them. But this one also, we saw a shift in the musical direction. Definitely a more epic, I would say a more operatic version, which fits with the reference to Amadeus. in the cover. Not as heavy. Don't get me wrong, it got heavy. It has heavy moments, but not as heavy as the first record.
Maybe, I'm going to say it now, spoilers, maybe my least favorite Ghost record.
It's not everybody's favorite. This actually is a very divisive record.
I think we're divided. I think we're going to be divided.
I mean, I still like it. Don't get me wrong. I still like it. I still listen to all the tracks on here. Speaking of, and you know, mentioning the tracks, we'll get into it right now. I think the best track on this record is Goulet's Zombie Queen. I love this record because a thing that I really like, and I think Keith Morris said it best. I was watching a performance he did, and he said it best, the best way to describe it. I like when bands can do something outside of their normal rapport, their normal repertoire, and make it work. And I think this was really good because you start off with the Goulet portion, which is it's very soft, very ballady, which up until this point they weren't known for doing. There are no ballads on Opus. So it's very soft, and you're just like, okay, this is very nice, kind of beautiful, kind of pretty. You listen to the lyrics, you're like, okay, still a little morbid, but we're all right. Then you get into the Zombie Queen part where it gets like heavy rock and roll, like surf metal.
The verse is very like, I was thinking it's like the Munsters theme.
Yeah, and then they get with the surf guitars and everything, and
it goes to like operatic chorus.
Yeah, and I'm a very big fan of surf rock. So to get that with Ghost was just unbelievable. I felt the soft portion was really good, and the surf portion was good on their own. But together, I think they created something really magical.
That was going to be mine, but I'll do a different one because you picked that one. Mine would be Year Zero.
Oh, Year Zero is really good. In fact, my first Ghost T-shirt is the cover of that single.
The vocals on that are just like it's awesome.
It's haunting. Yeah. It really is. Like you think about how he sings it, and it's just very haunting. It's like he's whispering it in your ear almost.
I'm gonna get controversial here.
I bet you will.
My worst.
But I do really like that song. I know what you're gonna pick.
I don't like the song Secular Haze.
I knew you were gonna say that. I know you hate it.
I also don't like.
I really like that song.
I'm gonna say I don't hate it as much. I just wanted to point out I don't like Secular Haze, but it's not the worst. To me, the worst is Depth of Satan's Eyes.
That is also my least favorite. It's the most forgettable song on the album. I only remember the chorus.
Honestly, until I listened to this record and looked at the track listing, I forgot it was on the album.
Oh, I never forget it's on there, but I just... It's a fine song. Again, it's not bad. It's just a fine song. It's there. And the fact that you have it sandwiched in between Idolatrine, which is a very... again, it's not one of their most amazing songs, but it's very catchy. And the lyrics are they're very Ghost.
Yeah.
And then you have Monstrance Clock, which is such a great closer.
Yeah.
I think, you know, it not only was it not as good as some of the other songs, but it was sandwiched between two really good songs. But then you also got Secular Haze, which I do like. I think is it's very unique to some of the other songs. It feels very circusy, which I like. I love the vocals on it. You have Gigolo Harum Megiddo, which again is a very catchy song.
What is your
and then of course and Body and Blood is a very underrated song. I was gonna say that's gonna be my underrated song, Body and Blood.
That is my hidden gem.
I love the vocals on it. I love the catchiness of it. The instrumentals on it is really good.
Yeah.
When they do that break at the point, the consume, digest, defecate portion. That's badass.
Yeah.
So good. And then on this one, you have two bonus tracks, which is La Mantra Mori and I'm a Marionette. I'm going to talk about that, I'm a Marionette cover in a second. La Mantra Mori, it's alright. It's not meant to be a good Ghost song. It's just meant to be there as it's meant to be a bonus. It's one of those ones where it's like, I can just put it on as a background, and it's great background music.
It's okay because the album Redux includes the EP, so we could talk about the EP.
Yeah. So
before we do our ranking.
So this was the first Papa Emeritus to get an EP after the LP. The debut EP was If You Have Ghosts, which was a reference to the Rocky Erickson song If You Have Ghosts,
and the cover,
which they cover on here. The cover being a reference to Nosferatu. You have Count Orlok, but he's made to look like Papa.
Yeah.
I think it's a great cover. I think
it's one of their better covers.
I like the simplisticness of it, the fact that it's really only three colors, blue, yellow, and white. I really like it. The back cover is also really cool. The reference to the scene where he's sneaking into the room. I thought that was really good. Like I said, great cover. Produced by Dave Grohl. This is one of those few ones where we can actually say who was on there. Rumor also has it he might have played drums on some of the tracks, but nothing is confirmed.
This is what I like about these Ghost covers. They all have like similar kind of ideas, but they're all various. Like you don't see many covers of ABBA.
Well, they're all references. They're all references to something, except the Elizabeth cover is a straight-up picture of a painting of Elizabeth Bathory. But you've got Opus, which is Salem's Lot. You've got Infesstium, which we mentioned was Mozart. Year Zero cover was based on a painting, a pre-existing painting. I think Secular Haze is one of the few that was an original. And then when you get to and then if you have Ghost, who we just mentioned, Meliora was a reference to.
We'll get to that.
Well, yeah, but they're not going to remember this part. Was a reference to Metropolis. The singles for that album were King Kong, Brazil, and Silence of the Lambs, respectively. This new album apparently is a reference to a Sinister record, so whatever. But they definitely like to give homages. A lot of their T-shirts, I have one where it's a reference to News of the World. A lot of they do a lot of references, but they put their twist on it.
Yeah. So
but we open up with If You Have Ghosts, which is a Rocky Erickson cover. I've listened, and I made it a point before this record came out to listen to the originals so I could get a feel. This one, they sound nothing like their originals, but this one is one of those ones where I definitely think was needed. The Rocky Erickson version is good, but it's kind of all over the place. This one kind of puts the reins on it. I think this song is very like quintessential Ghost. They still do this cover from time to time. It's very fitting because of the title, but just the vocals on it I think are really good. It's a very unintentionally uplifting song, which it's not supposed to be, but it is.
And I Am a Marionette, which is a very interesting song.
Yeah, I'm a Marionette. They're big ABBA fans. This was the B-side to the Secular Haze single and the bonus track on Infesstium. Regardless if you got Redux, as long as you got one with the bonus track, this was the bonus track. I love this. This is the song that made Caitlin, my fiance, fall in love with Ghost. And I think it's a great cover. Compared to the ABBA cover, this is probably the closest you'll get to one of them. Crucified, I love this cover. I think it's very unique when you listen to the original, which is a very like pop song, very like electronic pop song. So to hear it so sinister and dark, I think is a great contrast. Yeah. And then I'm not going to mention the last track because it's a live cover of live version of Secular Haze. And then the last cover we have is "Waiting for the Night" by Depeche Mode. I just said Crucified.
Oh, you did. Sorry.
I literally just did.
It was so fast. That's.
And then "Waiting for the Night" by Depeche Mode. The Depeche Mode one is fine. This one's fine. I just don't think "Waiting for the Night" is that good a song, regardless of who covers it. I like it. I can listen to it. But, like, I am kind of waiting for it to end. Like, I'll still listen to it, but I wait for it to end so I can switch the disc out and put something else on. But I think it's alright. But it's time to rank the two full-length Ghost records.
We're pretty even on this one.
I think it's, I think it's safe to say we're both in agreement, but I'm going to give mine. I would rank Opus #1, and then I would rank Infesstium number 2.
I would do the same.
All right.
It's not hard. And
I'm gonna say this. If I had to throw the EP in there, I'd put it in between them. But it doesn't.
Because
count.
I don't know. Because we haven't listened to Prequel yet.
No, as of this recording, Prequel has not been released. Yeah. All that's been released
right now is April 21st.
Yes, all that has been released is the song "Rats," which I love it. Yes, I think it's really good. I love the video. If you haven't listened to it, it's on all outlets. The music video is really good too. It's on YouTube. Watch the music video. It's really good.
I was very iffy about the new Papa. But you know
what?
I like him because he's moving around. He's not in the robes. I think we saw that video.
Well, for now,
he falls in the robe. And that one live show, I think he's like, "I'm not doing this next time." Yeah. So Rats is awesome. So next time we're gonna do
Meliora and Prequel, and then we'll touch on Popestar.
Yeah, and it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. Because I don't know how my ranking's gonna go now.
Well, I have an idea. If Rats is any indication, I think I already know.
Anyway, so let us know in the comment section below what's your favorite Ghost song, what's your favorite Ghost album. you know, is there any other bands that we should check out or we should do next time? Because we have a list of bands, and we don't know what to do. And
tell us we're wrong. Tell us we don't know shit. We don't know what we're talking about. Tell us that
Haze is a great song.
Tell us that Ghost isn't metal. Tell us that Ghost sucks. Tell us, hey, we know who he is. Like, do whatever. We don't care. We welcome your opinion. We want to hear good or bad. We don't care. We just want to hear from you.
We're not saying you're wrong.
We love you. But yeah, so that's gonna wrap it up, I think, for this show.
So we're doing Ghost, and then we're gonna go back to your GNR review with Use Your Illusion
1 and 2
later in the month. So
yeah,
it'll get there, guys. We want to talk about Ghost because Ghost decided, we're gonna release an album in 2 months. We're not gonna give you enough time. Condish.
They just face fuck you with it because they announced the tour, then like a couple weeks later they put out Rats, and then like literally the day they release Rat, or like at midnight after they release Rats, they released the video and they announced the album. But yes, that's gonna wrap it up. You know what you gotta do. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get updates on all productions of Condish Productions. Yes. Till next time, I'm Scott Savage.
Sweet,
reminding you that rock and roll never forgets. And neither do we. We'll catch you later.